Hello guys, back to Lacan. In the previous video we mentioned how the symbolic is the linguistic, roughly. Once we are very young, we are kind of offered, this, gift, and Slavoj Zizek, calls it, like the Trojan horse. Like it's this gift, you just take it, you don't really know what it is, and you choose to accept it, and it could be catastrophe or it could be amazing. So the symbolic is the linguistic, the infinite chain of signifiers. However, it's much more interesting than simply that. Okay, so the symbolic is not just the linguistic, but it's also the scientific. So science is comes from this symbolic. Okay, and a lot of scientists, they say, oh no, science deal with reality the way it is objective, like with the really real. But well, it's not necessarily the case. Well, because their thinking is really really shaped by the words and the concepts, and the example that Lacan provides, which I found really interesting, is one of Plato's dialogues. I think it's the Meno, in which Socrates asks a slave to essentially to do a mathematical proof. Oh yeah, that's the one here. Here we go. So essentially, Socrates comes to a slave and asks him, some questions about essentially how can you double this square? Like we are given a square, how can we double its area? And the slave tries, different things, and he tries, doubling the length. It doesn't work, and then Socrates, just shows him this method. So if you essentially draw this, so 90-degree shape from each of the edges, kind of meeting in a point, well then you simply see that that's half. So this thing is half of the outer thing. So essentially provides him with a mathematical proof, and the slaves understands it, and everybody is happy, I guess. And Lacan kind of says that, well, yeah, sure, to some extent, yeah, it is kind of objective. It's dealing with the real world, but the symbolic can take us way beyond this, because like right here in this picture, and of course Plato probably did not know this. Well, actually, he might have. Depending, whether or not he knew what students of Pythagoras figured out, and he was himself a big fan of Pythagoras. But this blue thing here is square root of 2. Okay, and it's really from the symbolic that this comes from. So like essentially Lacan says that the science comes from the symbolic, and especially this advanced mathematics and a lot of other things. So the symbolic is very influential in science. It's really a major factor in the development and progress of science. That's the key insight.